Welcome to Manifest at the Junction. This episode today I'm really excited about. It's looking at our archetype wheel and plotting our sacred self. We did this at the Junction on Sunday as a group, and it went over really, really well. And if anything, we felt like we wanted more time with it. That was how, lit up and juicy it was. So I thought I would do a video where we go through the steps that we went through to plot your own archetype. And it's really fun process. So why would we want to do it? Well, once we discover our archetypes, which there are many to choose from, but once we really pick the ones that show up always and often in our lives, and then we plot them on the archetype wheel in the different areas that are part of our lives, it starts to reveal something. It reveals how we show up for ourselves in certain areas. It also can help us see what maybe we're unable to, what archetypes are unable to work in certain sections of our lives. It also can really help us see the different types of personalities that fit or don't fit. And a lot can be revealed once we plot the archetype plot our archetypes on the archetype wheel. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is you're going to go in the comments or the description, and there's a link there. That link is going to provide for you a worksheet. It looks like this. So this worksheet shows the archetype wheel, but it also has room for place to put your own archetypes. And so the first thing you're going to do once you've printed it off is take a look. There's a slot for 12 archetypes, but the first 4 are already taken. And that's because those 4 are reserved. We need to add them to our archetype wheel. So child, victim, saboteur, and prostitute. So what I'm going to attempt to do is pause my video, screen share, and share with you each of the different sections that we can work on together. So hopefully this works. So the first one that we're going to look at is number 1 slot is child. So for the child archetype, there are a few different subtypes that we can look at. So today you're going to be looking at the different ones and picking one. So are you the magical child, believing in miracles and possibilities? Or the wounded child, deeply empathetic due to early pain? Orphan child, fiercely independent due to abandonment? Eternal child, never wants to grow up, Peter Pan energy? Nature child, feels at home in the natural world? Or divine child, radiates spiritual purpose from early on? So you can pause this video and really sit with which version of this child lives in me most strongly. And when you're sitting with those, you'll notice that a couple may jump out at you. And it's not uncommon to feel like 2 pull at you. And in this case, if you want, you can actually merge 2 together. For example, maybe nature child and magical child, or wounded child and divine child. So if there's 2, then that's fine. You can combine them. Or if there's one that most stands out, you would choose that. And then you would put it on your number 1 slot, the type of child that you feel like you are. And then the next one we're going to look at is victim. I'm just going to share with you what it means so that you can understand victim. So when you are plotting it on your archetype later, on the wheel later, you can kind of get the essence of the victim. So for victim, saboteur, and prostitute, there's definitely a shadow side and a light side. So for example, victim, we've all been victim of anything. Anytime there's injustice, feeling powerlessness, then victim is definitely the energy that we're encompassing here. So when we're in our shadow side of victim, and we really do feel victimized, there is a sense of blaming others, staying stuck in that powerlessness, using our victimhood as our identity. But the light side of victim as well recognizes when we are being mistreated. We stand up for ourselves. We learn to hold power with compassion. So that victim energy can come either as like a pancake where you get both and or it really could be you've overcome things and are feeling that power that this victim energy is. So whether it resonates with you in the shadow side or the light side, that part is really up to you and where you are in your journey, but also indicates where you are going to be putting it in your archetype wheel. So, but that can be revealed later, just letting you know that there are really two sides to each of these. And when it comes time to placing them, you will be leaning on whatever one really shows up intuitively. Now, for the saboteur, same thing. The saboteur identifies your fear-based patterns and helps you stop undermining yourself. So when we imagine we are going about life and perhaps whatever is coming up for us is almost too much, we can get in our own way and we can sabotage things. We can sabotage relationships. We could stop delaying action and just not doing something, which could cause it to really halt, or not trust our own success and just stall. So we have a shadow side where we can actually kind of get in our own way. But at the other end of it, the light side, this is where it helps us become aware of our sabotaging behavior. And it can help us protect from making choices that are not aligned. So again, just like victim, there's two sides to this. And depending on where you're at in your journey and what archetype wheelhouse you're going to put this in, can determine maybe there's some shadow energy, but it also definitely could be light energy. And then finally, prostitute obviously isn't the word that it says. It really is. It's a test of our integrity. We have our own values and our value system. And when we go against that value system, that's really what we're talking about, this prostitute type energy, where we're compromising our own integrity for something, for some sort of gain, whether it's money, attention, love. And really what it has us do is stay small just to survive. So this is definitely survivor energy. And the light side to prostitute is where we stand up and we find our self-respect, we set boundaries, and we refuse to sell our soul for safety. So there's this sense of prostitute, again, can come in sort of a shadow energy, but also certainly a very strong light energy. So things you would ask yourself is, where have I sold out in the past? And now, what am I refusing to? So those are the 4 core energies that we're talking about. So those 4 take up the first 4 spots. So now what we're going to do is you're going to look at these other 8 spots that are available. So just as a reminder, we're going to be having 12 at the end of this. The first 4 that we all need, plus the 8 other slots that you're about to choose. So I'm going to go through the list of the different archetypes. There's many, many of them, but we've kind of narrowed them down because, well, we could be here all day, but they come in 4 different sections, and I'm going to go through each section at a time, and then you can pause the video and take a look and really write down which ones resonate with you, and then the best thing to do is to look at them. I'm going to read them all. Read the description. You can close your eyes and listen. When ones kind of poke out at you, like, ooh, yeah, that's a good one, write it down or circle it. And the best thing to do is just capture the ones that are resonating. If you end up with 15, no problem. At least you have 15 to choose from. Once you have them all picked, then you can take a moment and narrow them down to the top 8. Okay, so for now, we're just going to listen to them all and write down, circle any of the ones that speak out to you, see how many you gather, and then we'll continue on. I'm going to share my screen. So the first section we're going to go to is the creative spiritual archetypes. So the creative spiritual ones. So we got an artist, expresses truth and emotion through creation and beauty. Mystic, seeks union with the divine, guided by inner truth. Seeker, always exploring, learning, growing through experience. Healer, restores balance and wholeness in others or self. Alchemist, transforms pain into purpose, turns lead into gold, metaphorically. Teacher, shares wisdom and experience to awaken others. Visionary, sees potential and creates futures others cannot yet imagine. Poet, channels emotion into words, metaphor, and rhythm. Storyteller, uses narrative to convey lessons, truth, or emotion. Scribe, records sacred or important knowledge from others. Monk or nun, seeks solitude and spiritual discipline, committed to devotion. So again, just write down any of the ones that resonate with you. One of the things that we noticed as well is the notion of combining. For example, someone shared that they definitely have teacher energy in them, but they're not just teacher. They're actually teaching to heal. And so inside of that, they created an archetype of teacher slash healer because that evoked for them the true essence of what they're doing when they're teaching is they're actually intending to heal. So they created that as an archetype. So feel free to do that, to combine. All right, let's move on to personal power, leadership archetypes. So Queen King leads with grace and power, creates structure and legacy. Warrior fights for what matters, courageous and loyal. Rebel breaks rules and challenges the status quo for good. Hero faces obstacles bravely, becomes stronger through trials. Pioneer ventures into new territory, innovates and initiates change. Sovereign embodies inner authority and self-governance. Leader guides others with clarity, purpose, and influence. Strategist sees patterns and builds systems that support vision. Liberator frees others from limitations or oppression. All right, let's move on to the next one. So the shadow survivor archetypes. Victim, like we said, is the teaches empowerment by rising from disempowerment. So we have that one. Saboteur, we have. Prostitute, we have. Wounded child and orphan child are actually on the child side. So we're just going to skip that, but we will add addict, explores attachment and emotional dependence, invites mastery. Martyr, we're going to skip down to martyr, self-sacrificing to a fault, learns balance in giving. Rescuer, compelled to save others, learns healthy boundaries. Judge, weighs truth and fairness and can become overcritical. Destroyer, breaks down what no longer serves, necessary endings. And finally, shapeshifter, adapts to survive or thrive and may struggle with identity. All right, let's move on to the last section, relational helper archetypes. Mother, nurtures, protects, and births people, ideas, and projects. Caregiver, devoted to meeting the needs of others, generous and kind. Companion slash friend, loyal and supportive, values connection and presence. Lover, passionate, devoted, emotionally expressive in relationships. Servant, offers support from a place of love and humility. Advocate, speaks on behalf of others, empowers voices and justice. Mediator, seeks peace and resolution, sees all sides of conflict. Networker, connects people and builds bridges between communities. Mentor slash guide, offers support, wisdom, and experience to those on the path. Matchmaker, brings people or ideas together in harmony or union. So those are the different archetypes. Now it is your choice or chance, to pause this video. Here they all are on the screen at once, so you can pause them and just take a moment. The hardest part is now. You need to pick 8 of the ones that you've chosen. And once you have the final, so once you've chosen your 8, plus the 4 that we need to add, child, victim, saboteur, and prostitute, you will then end up with 12 total. And you will be placing them on your archetype wheel, you'll be placing them on the list so that we then can go to the next section. So now we're going to move on to the actual wheel. So we have our 12, and now we have to figure out the exciting process of taking those 12 that we've chosen and putting them on archetype wheel. So the best way that we chose to do this was I start to read each one. You can either listen to them all and place them, or for some, as you're hearing it, some might pop up. But really, mostly what it comes down to is knowing what each of the wheelhouses are and then pausing the video and just taking a moment. That was the biggest reflection, was like, oh, I just feel like I want more time. Because you want to like really just sit with it and go, which one do I want here? Which one do I want there? So that seemed to be the best feedback. So let's go through each of the houses, and then you can pause the video and place them. Take time to place them. So wheelhouse 1, ego personality. That's who am I? What energy defines how I move through the world? Number 2, values, self-worth. How do I value myself? What are my core priorities? Communication. How do I express, teach, speak, and connect intellectually? Home, family. What shaped me early on in life? What's my relationship with family or home now? Creativity. How to play, create, love, and experience joy or pleasure. Work/service. What is my purpose in action? How do I serve to work day to day? Number 7, relationships, marriage. How do I show up in intimate partnerships and commitments? Number 8, transformation. Where have I had to let go, heal, die, and be reborn? Number 9, spirituality and truth. What is my connection to something higher? What do I believe? Number 10, fame, reputation. How am I seen publicly? What's my impact or legacy? 11, friendships and groups. How do I show up in my community? How do I influence or connect with groups? And finally, number 12, subconscious/shadow. What is hidden? What fears or gifts lie in my deeper psyche? Okay, so now's the time. Pause the video and really just sit with it and give yourself the space to plot and strategize. And once you have them all nicely laid out, you can continue on, and we'll start really looking at the actual wheel itself and see what can be opening up by how you've placed everything. So here's some questions you can ask yourself. First one is there any archetypes that surprise you? Ones that you maybe know you are, but isn't prominent in your day-to-day life, but really reflects who you are, is maybe being shadowed and not out, that you would love to begin to connect with again. So that's the first question. Is there any houses that you feel are neglected and maybe was difficult to place which one in there? Another question to ask is there any of the archetypes that surprised you with where you put them on the wheel? And what did you really see about that placement? You could go one by one, look at the ego personality and just sit with that and go, okay, I put that archetype there. What does that reveal? What am I seeing? That's who I am. Another thing to ask yourself is, where did the child end up on the wheel specifically, and why? Where did victim show up on this wheel and why? Where did saboteur show up on the wheel and why? And finally, prostitute. Where did it show up and why? What can I reveal about it? Another beautiful thing to do is to journal about them. Take a wheel archetype and just really write and see what prompt comes up for you. And when we journal, there's that subconscious unveiling that can occur. It's beautiful, beautiful work that can happen. The next thing to look at is take an area and really sit with the dynamic that gets created with that particular archetype in that specific space. So for example, let's say you got fame, reputation, and inside of that house, you got a specific archetype. So when you look at how you show up in that area, how does that impact others in that wheelhouse? And can we see how the dynamic plays out? also identifying that the relationships that we have with people, they too are showing up as an archetype. And that archetype is responding with our archetype. And there's a flow there, synergy or not. If there's particular conflicts that we are working with, can we see the archetype that's showing up? Is it helping that situation? Is it hindering that situation? Things to ask yourself. Another idea also, which is really powerful, is what if in those different locations we took a different archetype and we showed up newly in these areas? What could we see would be available? So there's a lot of really cool places that we can look at within this archetype wheel. So with that, what I'll do is I'll post these questions that you can ask. I'll put them in the description as well. They're really great questions that you can ask yourself. But I hope this was of value to you and that you really can reveal something new and interesting about life and how you're showing up. And really the design of all of these videos is to empower and inspire people to make a difference in their lives, your life, and those around you. And so that's what these videos are about. If you haven't liked or subscribed yet, I would love for you to do so. Comment if there's any other topics or other cool things you would love to see. And there's definitely a lot going on here at the junction. And then finally, if you've gotten to the end of the video and I don't know you yet, I wanted to invite you personally. If you like these videos, you might actually have a great time on Sundays for 1 hour at the junction. It's a group of people. We meet on Zoom for 1 hour, 10 o'clock Mountain Standard Time. And these topics, just like this and many, many others, happen each week. We create a new topic. We all come together, and inside that topic is really designed to empower us for the week ahead. And so you are absolutely welcome to join. It is free, and it's a community that we're building where, inside of this crazy world that we live in, I wanted to create a space where people can connect for 1 hour within themselves, but also with each other, and find like-minded people who are really looking for that sacred space as well. It's not religious. It's just really about empowerment, inspiration. Definitely there's spirituality and there's heart-centeredness, and definitely there's a connection to the divine, as you would know in all of the videos that I post. But that's absolutely an open invitation to come. How do you find out more about that? Just go to the website, thejunction.today/Sunday, and you'll find all about the next topic, when we're meeting, and actually a button to click on, and that'll get you right onto the Zoom call with the password junction. So hopefully we'll see you there. Nothing wrong with a strange face, and we'll welcome you, and we'll be so excited to meet you, and I'm looking forward to it. With that, have a great week. Take care.